siang teman-teman sekalian. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua dan selamat sore. Pertama kali kami mengucapkan selamat datang di acara FKP kali ini yang menjadi host kali ini adalah Bapak Nas. Yang kedua, kami menyampaikan permohonan maaf. Jadi harusnya ini yang moderasi Bapak forum FKP kali ini adalah Bu Vivi. Kebetulan Bu Vivi sedang ada rapat pembahasan terlibat dengan pemerintah Australia dan saya ditugaskan untuk menggantikan beliau. Jadi semoga nanti bisa berjalan lancar. Nah, pada FKP kali ini yang akan menyampaikan materi yang akan menjadi pembicara adalah Mbak Yesi Fadila. Beliau dari Australian National University yang sekarang sedang menyelesaikan PhD-nya, studi PhD-nya, dan beliau juga sebagai pegawai di Kementerian Perdagangan ya Pak ya. Nah, dalam FKP kali ini yang temanya adalah the impact of tariff reform on inequality and the environment. Nah, Mbak Yesi akan menyampaikan bagaimana dan sekaligus menguji bagaimana dampak dari liberalisasi perdagangan terhadap kesejahteraan masyarakat dalam konteks Indonesia. Nah, studi yang sudah dilakukan yang nanti akan dipaparkan ini cukup menarik karena akan menguji, menganalisis dampak penurunan tarif terhadap tiga hal, yaitu tingkat kesenjangan pendapatan, kemudian polusi udara, dan tingkat kematian bayi. Ini kalau tidak salah. Nah, begitu saya membaca brief informasinya, saya menjadi surprise juga karena ini ada tiga hal yang mungkin tidak ada kaitannya. Nah, ini semuanya akan dicari keterkaitan hubungannya dengan soal penurunan tarif ataupun tarif reform. Baiklah, untuk mempersingkat pelaksanaan acara FKP kali ini, saya akan memberikan waktu kepada Mbak Yesi Fadila 45 menit Pak ya, dari sekarang. Jadi nanti kita akan berakhir di jam 4 sore. Nah, setelah pemaparan dari Mbak Yesi Fadila, nanti langsung kita akan diskusikan. Saya berikan kesempatan kepada Floor untuk menyampaikan pertanyaan, saran, dan sebagainya. Baiklah, kami persilakan Mbak Yesi untuk menyampaikan materinya. Boleh, silakan.
have positive correlation. So as shown by Edmond Hackley and Kalova. So very good that in this study we only look at the impact of the tariff reform as part of the trade liberalization on some measures. And as we know, Indonesia has been liberalized since 1970s. The big tariff liberalization happened during the mid-80s and also in the beginning of 90s. That's brief. Now let me start my first chapter. It's the impact of tariff reform on equality and poverty in Indonesia. Why we chose this topic? Because there has been a long debate on the relationship between trade liberalization and equality and poverty, as we know. Like it's argued that trade liberalization can reduce income inequality through the increase in the relative demand for unskilled labor, intensive activities, and thus for unskilled labor. But on the other hand, researchers concluded that trade reform will increase income inequality, maintains that capital owners and highly skilled labor in the residential sector will gain much more than actually worsen the inequality. Yet the empirical evidence for this is at best mixed. So due to the ambiguity, the question of how trade liberalization affects the inequality and poverty remains largely an empirical one. But in the context of Indonesia, Indonesia has been conducted comprehensive trade liberalization over the past decades, as we showed earlier. In the meantime, equality in Indonesia has recently become important public debate because Gini coefficient has risen to the highest point ever. Actually, this president was first time in 2014, so 2014 is the highest Gini ever, and poverty in Indonesia has been reduced significantly over 4 decades, but at a decreasing rate, as you know. Studies of the impact of trade liberalization on inequality and poverty in Indonesia have been relatively limited. So, my research question is, how did provincial exposure to tariff reform affect the inequality and poverty in Indonesia? As you know, inequality is rising, and Gini coefficient across provinces also differs. Thank you for Bapak for this very handy tools. And also for the top 20% expenditure share, also decreasing, but that's only rate, I think. And then bottom 20% expenditure share is like this is the rough figure of the 20% expenditure share. And poverty rate also decreasing, but also with decreasing rate. Poverty rate across Indonesia is also very diverse. And another measure that I want to look at is the average per income of the bottom 20% in Indonesia, relatively increasing over the time, but also differs across regions. So this is just a brief picture, and this is what people think of inequality in Indonesia. In fact, the reality is inequality is rising. Only like Indonesians are concerned. Like 2014 survey from World Bank, public perceptions of inequality report that most Indonesians consider income distribution in Indonesia to be very unequal, if not equal at all. These respondents are urging government action. So, we would like to see whether tariff reform has an impact on inequality and poverty in Indonesia. Based on the theory, we expect that removing tariff in a developing country where low-skilled labor is relatively abundant would result in an increase in the relative wages of the low-skilled workers, and in turn, we hope for the decreasing inequality based on scholars and concepts. It would look at higher because I just see there. Okay. So how about empirical studies on the impact of tariff reform? Tariff reduction is associated with high equality and lower poverty. There are, as I mentioned before, the empirical studies results are mixed. So some studies found that tariff reduction is associated with higher inequality, but some studies found that it's actually associated with lower inequality and also mixed effects. Some studies also found mixed effects. So it's still the studies the results of the many studies still have this effect. So how about empirical evidence for Indonesia? Not so many studies on the issues, but some of them, like the latest one, poverty ranges more in exposed district, latest study by Pistatos and Sparrow 2015, published in 2015. So I expect from this first empirical chapter, these studies providing longer analysis of tariff reform. We are looking at 1980 to 2012. And we think that this is the first study examining the impact of tariff reduction on inequality in Indonesia. Sample and data sums. The sample is 26 provinces. We get the crosswalk for the initial period. For the regional tariff data, the nominal tariff figures are taken from the Indonesian Custom Tariff Books and unfed trades database. And we also use the initial regional labor market structure from the census, from the iPods, and we also use the national input-output table method 75. And the other variables that we want to look at are the Gini coefficients, share of the top and the bottom 20%, poverty rates, and average real income of the bottom 20%. This is just a repeat of the change in tariff. So we can see that target tariff rate was issued unanimously with predetermined. So tariff declines in each industry were proportional to the industry's pre-reform tariff rates. I think feel free to ask if you have anything unclear. This is the province level tariff exposure. So basically, my three empirical chapters using the similar methods that we bring the national tariff down to the regional tariff by weighting the national tariff by the importance of the sector in the region. So in this first case, we are using a province level. So the tariff here, it captures province level exposure to import tariffs for province P, year T, and sector S. We have 16 sectors. And the weight, the LSP over LP, is actually the relative share of the employment of sector S in the total labor force of province P. It's measured in the initial time period to avoid endogenous problem. And we also further distinguish between the output and input tariffs. This is for the manufacturing weighted tariff. We distinguish output and input tariff. Basically, this is okay. Previous one. This is the labor weighted tariff because we weight it by the relative share of employment of sector. And the next one, this is manufacturing weighted tariff, and differentiate from manufacturing, we differentiate to output and input tariff, which is with the same method, but the weight, the QSP over QP is the relative share of the industrial output of sector S in the total industrial output of the province P, measured in the initial time period. So, relative importance of the sector, industry in province. While for the input tariff, we further weight the output tariff with the relative share of the J industry among the inputs of any output sector S in the initial period. So, MGS over MS, that is the additional weight. The MGS over MS, this is the additional weight. This weight is the relative share of the J industry among the inputs of any output sector. So we got this from national input-output database. So okay, this is our main estimation. So basically, we want to see what is the impact of the change of tariff on the change of our outcomes. This is for province P and year T, and we also put island year W. So yeah, this is we want to look at the Gini coefficient, share of the top and bottom 20%, poverty rates and average income of the bottom 20%. Okay, and the period of analysis is 1977 to 2012. And we also include many control variables. More of them are, we also like the GRDP, the years of schooling, mortality rate, and so forth. But also we also add some political index. We have the political fractionalization index and also participation rate, which the definition can be stated. So, okay. So, jump to the main results. This is the results for tariff reductions and inequality regulation. From this table, we can see from labor and manufacturing tariff, we can see positive correlation, but unstable for the auto tariff, but relatively stable for the labor weighted tariff. We can see the tariff reductions because it is positive. We can see that tariff reduction is associated with lower Gini coefficients, and it's robust after controlling for year identity supply, time carrying controls, as well as for the initial condition. Now for the top 20% duration, we can also see the positive correlation here for the labor weighted tariff, and now for the manufacturing, we can see that tariff reduction is associated with lower expenditure share of the top 20%. And how about the bottom 20%? The correlation is negative and significant, which is concluded that tariff reduction is associated with increasing expenditure share of the bottom 20%. And now the poverty rate also shows, the table shows the positive correlations and relatively more stable for the poverty one, which means that a decrease in tariff is associated with a reduction in poverty. It's also in line with study by Campos and Ismail 2015, but with different magnitudes. And for the first expenditure of the bottom 20%, it's the first two columns is significant and negative, which means that reduction in tariff leads to the increasing of the expenditure of the bottom 20%. But once we control for initial conditions and initial dependent variables, they are no longer significant. So we can say that little evidence of the impact of tariff reform on average expenditure of the bottom 20%. And for the robustness, we did flexible tests. That is, we regress the current changes in independent variable and future reductions of tariff measures. In general, we can find no significancy. So the results, we argue that the results are not biased for confounding trends that drive the outcome variables, which are not controlled by the initial conditions. So this is it for the robustness. Talking about the potential bias again, about the reverse causality, we prove by placebo test, no correlation. Initial conditions we already include in the revision. And some also argue how about the political economic lobby, like some industry can lobby for lower tariff and etc. But more likely it can happen at national level or national industry level, and they already controlled by fixed effect. Moreover, Mubarak and Purbasari also argue that political lobby is unlikely the case in Indonesia. However, the island bias protection raised the issue was raised by Garcia in 2000. We already we include the island controls there. So we argue that the results are relatively robust. So what's the finding for the first chapter is regions that were exposed more to tariff reform experience lower inequality measures and larger reductions in poverty rates. So basically it's good for the equality of poverty. Now, hopefully you're still with me. Now the second empirical chapter is tariff reform and child mortality in Indonesia. rates is on the health impacts of trade liberalization. So it is important to understand the trade-health relationships so that international trade policies could maximize potential health benefits and minimizing the potential risks. And Weinstein and Howard et al. In 2009 also argued that the interconnection between international trade and public health deserve more consideration than they have been given today. So this is why child mortality rates, because it's widely used as a measure of population health and the quality of healthcare. Well, in Indonesia, infant and under 5 mortality rates actually have halved since 1990, but still there are still about 150,000 Indonesian children that will not live to celebrate their 5th birthday. And also the geographic disparities is still a concern in Indonesia. So that's why we want to look at the impact of the tariff reform on the child mortality rates as one of measure of health outcome. This is just a rough picture of infant mortality rate in Indonesia decreasing over time, as well as under 5 mortality rate in Indonesia. So whatever the measure is, the trend is actually decreasing. But as we can see also, it still differs across regions in Indonesia. Like in Papua is so high, the mortality rate, child mortality rate still was so high that in like Riau probably it's lowest in compared to other provinces. And also if we compare between regions like urban and rural, also from cave and poor, still the disparities are there actually. So our research question is, how have Indonesian tariff reforms affected child mortality? The method is the econometric approach using data from 283 Indonesian districts, 2007, so it's the cross-section one. So the main data is Discusdas 2007. And also the tariff data still we took that from the UNTAD-trained database and the Indonesian Customs Tariff Series. And additional controls are taken from SUSENAS. So what's the potential impacts of tariff reform actually? Health might improve with economic growth and income. It could also help in increasing living standards and lower the price of health products and services, thus improving people access to better health. So that tariff reform is good for the health outcomes. But on the other side, it could also worsen workers' conditions of the import competing sectors because of the temporary or permanent unemployment or decreasing wages, which can lead to impeding access to health assistance and foregoing medication to the doctor actually. And with numerous health concerns to degradation in environmental quality. So some also argue that actually the tariff reform has bad impacts on health. Well, how in this study we expect effects that reform with lower child mortality rates, why? Because of through the economic growth and income, reducing poverty, public health improvement, development of medical technology and interventions, and also wide variety of food and lowering price. So, positive impacts expected here. How about the existing evidence? Not so many studies on these issues. Even internationally, we can only find like 2 empirical studies on the issues, by Levin and Rothman, and also one in 2006-2007. Levin and Rothman, they found that trade significantly improved health outcomes despite of deeper effects and sometimes not significant after controlling for incomes. Owen and Wu, they found that trade openness improves child mortality and life expectancy in a panel of 210 developed and developing countries. But the positive impact is not robust when repeating the sample only of the developing countries. So, let alone for Indonesia, still very limited studies for this issue. innovation. Yes, protection data. At first, we request the tariff on the health on child mortality rates at level, and then secondly, we try out the changes on the level. Our limitation is that the child mortality rates only available in 2007, which we derived. We couldn't find any other year for data for the child mortality rate, so we can't do changes on the left-hand side. So this is the main challenge. Of course, we also include some district characteristics and dummy variable to control. And this is the output and input tariff. Like this basically the same as before, but this time it's in district level. So in district level and only for this is for district level, and the weight is still the same. This one is weighted by the relative share of employment of sector S in the total labor force of district, and the input tariff is weighted further by the initial share of the industry over all inputs of any sector S. So here in this sector empirical paper, we just use the labor weighted tariff because we argue that the main channel is through the labor weighted tariff. And these are the results for the infant mortality rates using the 2002 tariff. So the tariff is applied in 2002 and the infant mortality rates in 2007. We found that districts with lower level of tariff experience lower infant mortality rates. It's level on level. Under infant mortality rates, we also find a positive relationship, which means that districts with lower level of tariffs experience lower under 5 mortality rates level. And from the change of tariff integration, we found that this one significant for input tariffs, not significant for output tariff, which means that for the input tariffs, districts more exposed to input tariff reforms experience lower mortality rates of children under 5. So because it's change one level, so the higher the tariff had, the lower the mortality rates of the children. And also for the robustness, we also put some alternative of the equations. We put change of tariff plus change of control variables and also additional 2007 controls. We still find that we still find in general that this one the minus for the under 5 mortality, but it should be also minus here. We still find a minus correlation, which means that districts more exposed to input tariff reforms experience lower child mortality rates, both for infant mortality and under 5 mortality. How about urban and rural? For urban and rural, we also found that input tariffs mattered, but not the output tariff. No significant economically significant for the output tariff, but yes, we found for the input tariffs. This is also from this table that the correlations are higher in magnitudes and significance for the urban regions. And also here we did placebo test. We request the past changes in child mortality on changes in tariff. We found that placebo test confirms that future tariff changes have no significant effects on current outcomes, no significant here. So what's actually the potential channels how tariff reform can enter the child mortality, come to the child mortality rates? Actually, we tried many potential channels that mentioned in the literature, but I only put like some of them that have significance here. Some of the potential channels. It's called for step 2. Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. Both of the table is step 2 actually. There should be step step one of checking channel is actually by examining whether tariff affects these variables. And this is the first step that I missed in this slides. So sorry for that. But after checking, I found that these variables are significantly affected by tariff. Then we go further to the step two. The second step, which is we have to check whether these variables really affect the infant mortality and infant mortality rates. So hopefully that's clear. And from the result, we found that the ones that matters are the GFR and hospital number, which means that the total, which means that the tariff reform affect the child mortality rates to the total fertility rates and the number of hospitals. And these are the findings, basically from the second chapters. Greater exposure to tariff reform were correlated with lower infant and under 5 mortality rates. Districts with higher exposure to input tariff reductions were having lower child mortality rates in 2007. In number one standard deviation, larger reduction in the weighted input tariff implies 3.8 and 4.9 point lower infant and under 5 mortality rates respectively. And potential channels, we found that through the lower fertility rates and increasing public health facilities. So those are the findings for the second chapters. And okay, now let's jump to the third chapter. Hopefully, yeah.
So the data for the mortality was for 2007 and the tariff reform 2002.
Yeah, for the level, we have actually line for the tariff data from 2002 and the mortality rates in 2007.
What is closer to 2007 in terms of the
yeah.
data?
Sorry, I forgot to mention. Actually, we also tried like 2005, 2006, and we found the similar results. So it's still we found positive results on that level. But at the end, this is not our main result or our best result, because I forgot to mention this. Sorry. So we didn't go so deeply on this issue because, as we can see here, we found significance, but once we control for initial labor force and world population shares or for the initial condition, they lose their significance, which is for the level on level. So that's why we go to changes and changes. But we also tried for 2005 and we got similar results. Once we control for initial conditions, we found no longer significant there.
And for the last test for the child mortality, you mentioned the past child mortalities.
Yes.
But you mentioned
Right.
the data
Yeah.
or the also.
Thank you for raising that question. Actually, for this one, we made this current child mortality rates on future tariff rates. So that's the other way. We can use current tariff rates on past mortality rates, or we can use current mortality rates on future tariff rates. So that's what we did.
So what were the future tariff rates?
Because in only 2007, we still have tariff until 2012. Yeah, we tried several tariff year, and the results still significant in the future tariff. So no reference consolidation. Is that clear enough?
Nah, ini mau langsung diskusi atau gimana?
Saya bebas Pak, kalau ada yang kurang jelas mau kasih ditanyakan juga boleh. Oke. Jadi bukan yang lampau, tapi jadinya tarif yang sekarang terhadap mortality rate sekarang terhadap tarif masa depan. Jadi sama aja kan sebenarnya, karena kita nggak punya data di there should be channels, and we try to find the channels to just try to explain how tariff affect. So yeah, it's kind of indirect effect.
So then you may have three equations. One is because the effect is indirect, then you have to measure the indirect cost between child mortality and tariff reduction through some channels, and then these channels to the child.
Yes, that's what basically we did for the step 1 and step 2.
Yeah.
But since there are several potential channels, not only one, so one channel is not really the main channel. So there are several channels, so partial channels. So at the end, like what's the impact of the tariff reform itself on the total quality is the one that they can do in the region.
So that the results would be you should have two effects there, direct effects and indirect effects. So those two results should be shown there.
Yeah.
This is the first one, and then this is cross section data, but you control by variable. How do you do it?
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry. It shouldn't be type inferior controls. Yeah, it should be type inferior controls. Terima kasih, Pak. Or it's just the least copy. Okay.
with development and how it impacts on the number of hospitals and technology use of the hospitals. That's the still the kind of obesity. I expect if the one is significant expenditure one, then we're fine. We can be like, oh yeah, with the redevelopment and this expenditure, the income increase and things will be also higher. Then we can connect with the reduction in mobility rate. It's probably a bit of far to try to get important reduction to the number of variable that we found is significant. I think Anna trying to probably give an idea. Maybe you use some other more related to the water reduction. The problem is if you try to send this, you need to expect that the reader will have to assume that there is a connection. So I think that's the one that probably find a reason.
Thank you for this, and I just want to give my personal opinion. Basically, we also see actually government spending, especially if we can lay down government spending for the different sectors, but unfortunately, we didn't have the data for that time. And still, if you guys trust me, or if you even more would have the data, so we can have the cross-check for the spending. So the best that we can do for that time is just for the infrastructure to run office hospital, because the data is there, but not for the spending. And actually, we also really want to look at the spending, especially on health sector. So government spending in health sector, probably that's the.
I think that's probably the best way.
Yeah.
Try to say with the great development
Yes.
there will be an increase in
Government
the government
revenue.
revenue,
Yes.
that they can spend more to buy property or
Yeah.
something. And I know there's no probably like a full data for you're looking for a regional government spending.
Yeah, district.
District spending.
Yes.
Do you looking for the breakdown or just
If we can have the total, so finally we can have also in health sector, probably we really
yes, I
also
know
there.
that probably would be
Yeah.
challenging.
Okay.
But like that probably it's still high.
I think you have some access to the digital right, you have data.
Okay.
And
Okay.
for what government
of tariff reform and on air pollution in Indonesia. Since we started from the debate of the nexus of the trade liberalization and environment, some argue that trade can bring fiscal revenues and technology can have environment protection, conservation, and remediation efforts. And also, the more open a country, the more likely that it will follow strict environmental regulation. But on the other side, some also argue that trade creates environmental degradation by producing more pollution, exploiting natural resources, promoting deforestation and land degradation, causing damage to species and habitat. And also, trade may encourage specialization in certain industries as to maximize comparative advantage in certain goods. So, and they more pollution. Yeah, the empirical evidence for this is advancements. Some found that tariff reform or trade liberalization has positive impact on air pollution, but some also found that actually that impacts that open up leads to more pollution. Liberalization leads to increasing emissions. But for Indonesia, some studies on the issue. The first one, trade liberalization may lead to an increase in real income of Indonesia and may increase emissions from all major industrial pollutants, reducing applied GM. And the other one is using the GTAM method. With respect to air and water, trade policy reforms would in many cases improve the environment. That's actually. And then the other study from Gumilang et al. In 2012 using CGE approach, tariff reform is inducing air pollution and reducing water pollution. So still, there's a still ways. So this study at times will contribute to the issue by providing empirical evidence on the trade and environment relation in the context of Indonesia. So our research question is, how did district exposure to tariff reform affect air pollution in Indonesia? This is actually the air pollution in Indonesia. And theoretically, what is the impact of tariff reduction on air pollution? There are three main mechanisms, as mentioned by Copeland and Taylor in 2094. The first one is scale effect, which always increases pollution, so more trade, more pollution. And then the second one is the composition effect, that reflects the specialization in more or less dirty activities. If it concentrates on the dirty activities, more pollution, and vice versa. And the third one is the technical effect, which indicates the improvement of efficiency and utilization of cleaner technology. So there are actually three effects or three mechanisms. So in this study, our main destination is the change of tariff and the change of air pollution. And we use pseudo panel in district level. So we use change of tariff on the change of the air pollution, and use for the air pollution we use level of aerosol index. I will explain it later, and including control variables and initial conditions as before. And the period of analysis is from 1993 to 2002. The sample is 232 districts, again possible for the initial period. The national regional tariff data the same as before, and for the geographic controls are taken from the Center for Climate Research, CCR, at the University of Delaware, and the additional controls also taken from Philo.com.
So the data on the environmental, they are available at the district level?
Yes.
Precipitation?
Yes. Yes.
For 9,002?
Yeah, for the aerosol index, for the temperature and precipitation in district level. This is the district exposure to tariff reform, still the same, similar as before, but in this time we use the district level and pseudo panels across time. From 1990, and the initial condition basically the main variable that we use to as the measurement of the air pollution. This is the aerosol index. So just a brief explanation on the aerosol index. This is it's simply a measure of the clarity or the transparency of the air in the atmosphere. So higher aerosol index indicating more air pollution and vice versa. So there are technical definition of aerosol index. See, and it's the aerosol index itself is obtained using the TOMS data from NASA, basically, so from their websites. So this is how we simple picture of how we got the data. The aerosol index data. So first we download the spatial map data for aerosol index for Indonesia, and we combine the aerosol index map data from the website, and we combine that with Indonesian spatial map data and calculate the aerosol index for each district. And for each district, we put 3 points, of that, and then we calculate a simple average of aerosol index of each district based on total aerosol index values of all polygons in a district divided by the total polygons it has. It's roughly like that. We found the aerosol index number. So this is just to give a picture, because Indonesia is too big. So Sumatra, basically, those who has a big change in tariff can have big change in air pollution, but also can also have low change in pollution. So it's fairly actually about duration. Fairly the relationship of the change in tariff and change in air pollution. And this is our main results. This is the tariff coefficient for duration of aerosol index. We found that we found significant results, especially for the input tariffs. We found that T1 standard deviation larger reduction in input tariff leads to 18% less increasing of air pollution over 3 years. This is the average change period. This time, the standard deviation for the main variable here. This is over 3 years. So tariff reduction is associated with lower aerosol index. It's a bit controversial though. And also when I also present this in other place. And also after controlling for initial conditions, the results are still robust. After the controlling the initial manufacturing, agriculture, and mining share, and also the initial condition. So we still see the positive relationship here. And how about different tariff measures? For the robustness, we also checked previously for these two tables. We used the manufacturing weighted, and we just tried how about the level weighted. So mainly we also got positive relationships of tariffs and aerosol index for these alternative tariff measures. And then we also, for the robustness, we also control spatial dependence by adding spatial weight matrix W to the mean weight ratio, which basically is a matrix consists of 0 and 1, which belong to neighborhood, 1 in favor, and the spatial weight matrix has to be a scalar. So just adding to the model. And what we got is here, still the effects of tariff are robust to controlling for spatial dependence. The correlation is still positive. And how about the neighbors feedback? So neighbors pollution condition matters, but neighbors exposure to tariff reform doesn't matter for the one region's air pollution condition. And again, placebo test, we found no significant relationship here. So in general, no significant effects. The results are not biased from confounding trends and try or comparisons. And here again, we just try to explain a little bit the potential channel. It's not perfect, though, the channels, but just some potential channels. We also try the dirty industries, which is mentioned in the literature, like the iron and steel, the ferrous metal, industrial chemicals, pulp and paper, and non-metallic mineral products. And we found that indicating that the composition and chemical effects, because the scale effect is unambiguously always leads to more pollution. But this is for the composition and chemical effects. We argue that by the tariff reform and move away from dirty export, industries move away from dirty export, and also the increasing of efficiency and technology in the industry. So these are the findings from the last empirical chapter, that input tariff reduction contribute to a decrease in aerosol index, which one standard deviation decrease in input tariff mitigates the increase in aerosol index by about 18% of the standard deviation over a 3 years period, because the data is over 2 years. Our results are robust to emit potential compounding and spatial dependence effects, and also reduction of input tariffs increases average industrial efficiency. We argue that, and also promotes industrial export and shift industrial production to relatively cleaner sectors as the potential story behind that. So, yeah, at the end, the big conclusion of the 3 chapters, tariff reform is actually good. That contributed to lower income inequality and poverty rates, lower infant and infant mortality rates, and also lower air pollution index. So that's the main view of chapters. Thank you. Okay, now, okay, so yeah, if you have any questions.
Thank you so much for your presentation, very enlightening. May I know if you have any data or information from your research? Which commodity that has the most significant impact on reducing poverty and inequality in exposed districts you mentioned? Maybe there's a specific sector that has the most significant.
Yes, terima kasih Mas buat pertanyaannya. Similar to what I mentioned before, unfortunately our research doesn't go into sectoral impacts. First, because of the data and methodological issue, we want to go there. So this is only the first step, but all that we can see is the one that matters most is input tariff. So basically, you lower the input tariff, the lower the input tariff is good. But we can't go deeper into the sectoral sorry, but it can be an area for the future research. Yes, thank you.
For the last one, is clarification is the accuracy. So how they yeah. How can we explain your view?
Yeah, it's not perfect explanations, but potential mechanism that we can raise is that the reduction of input tariffs increases average industrial efficiency from the capacity utilization, and promotes industrial export and shift industrial production to the relatively cleaner sectors. So the composition effects. So move to the cleaner sectors. That's one mechanism that we can propose. For instance.
So that we, I mean, in Indonesia, we are going to more cleaner production.
Yeah, we argue that cheaper input tariff create more space for industry. They can invest in newer technology, and new technology is relatively cleaner. From that, so from the income space that industry has, vital space actually. Yeah. So that's the potential. But we don't argue that strict liberalization or tariff reform can reduce. Is one found that the tariff reform it was actually contributed to lower air pollution. So if air pollution is increasing, so basically it's not because of the tariff reform. So
You can say that because your results show that
yeah, I didn't say that. We just agree that how tariff reform affects air pollution is actually positive effect, positive impacts. Yeah, that's basically the review.
because in international economics, you need the applicated environmental perspective.
Yes.
So in that context, the relation between economic welfare and environmental condition is not linear.
Yes.
It can be positive or it can be negative. You may also
Check for the process.
exercise your model to be non-linear.
Yes. Yes. I emphasize that and yeah. First of all, I have to say that. Oh, okay. I've checked the USMAD and also the hotspots out of the linear, but I found also no significance for the non-linear. And the USMAD itself is actually still debatable and also still say that USMAD itself gets like hardly argued in all the parts. Yeah, but that's I've tried the USMAD department before I present the paper.
You just give me like based on your spatial sensitivity. Do you have a list of region that have higher mortality and region that have lower mortality? I'm assuming that before because your analysis is from 2000 to 2012, we were in the period of higher frequency of the natural resource income. So I don't know whether that also will skew your result. That's one. Well, you can tell with I don't know, by looking at the list of the regions that have the higher importance. The second thing is, I have to admit that your finding is really good to be true, because by doing this, you want to say, you're from the Ministry of Trade, right? So you want to say, okay, trade reform is good, we have to go and try to find a way in the coordination or by bilateral agreement to trade in order to reduce import tariff, because it's going to benefit us from the inequality, from the poverty, from the lower mobility rate, and from the reduction in pollution. I have to say that I'm kind of we have to be really careful in such a solution. The implication is really big. But to be honest, I don't have any good suggestion what should be done. I guess you still have time to go over this.
do. So we just look at what is the past tell us, right? What is the past, the experience tell us. And well, you could that I'm from Ministry of Trade honestly, and of course I expect totally different results from my results of this time. So usually I expect like more inequalities because of the free trade, and also expect like actually more evolution because of the free trade. Yes, my first. Even though I'm from Ministry of Trade, but yeah, surprisingly, economically, we got these results, and we have to explain this result as it is. And also that, and for the policy application, like fortunately in my business department, we have one of like to go to deep into policy because it's more on academics. So this is the academics result of our study. Yeah, for the further interpretation and for the policy analysis, we should consider more. So much more to be done to go to the policy analysis. Yes, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah.
Actually, I just want to give one additional comment for Indonesia, because you mentioned that maybe in Hari, we from the corporate organization to seek to cleaner production or manufacturing. It must be forced by the government because it will give a room for corporate manufacturer become more modern, and it can produce with the old style, cannot move to the clean and clean manufacturing. And also for the air index as an approach for the air pollution, can we use, I just want to know, can we use the carbon dioxide, CO2, or any kind of substance that will make air pollution? Because I think aerosol, yeah, is one substance of chemical that make pollution, but there are more substances. I just want to know the reason why you just aerosol index.
For the first comments, yeah, that's true. That this is what we found. But for the policy in the future, yes, government, we need more trade policy to make this welfare in welfare in Indonesia. So please, industrial policy, which is not our. For the second one, why we use the aerosol index? Because like if you use CO2, it's taken, it's come taken, right? It's not easy and not available for district in Indonesia, and also it can also create bias because it's taken by human every person. And we try to minimize as much bias as we can. That's why we use aerosol index because it's taken by satellite, and we assume that satellite can fly. So it's the technically it's the best that we can do for the condition. Other comments, suggestions? No, because yeah, it's not all that because we yeah, it's just half of that. Yeah. Well, yeah, saya cek lagi tapi we get two methods actually. The first one is saya kira terima kasih. Oke. Mulai sampai.
Baik, terima kasih Pak Yesi atas presentasinya dan juga atas respon dan jawaban. Kami dari Direktorat Penanggulangan Kemiskinan dan Kesejahteraan Sosial Bappenas, saya mewakili Ibu Bibi Laswati mengucapkan terima kasih atas kehadiran semuanya dan sampai ketemu di KPU berikutnya. Sekian, kita akhiri. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.